What's up YouTube, it's your boy Grassy TV back with another Hero Siege video. Season 5 begins on December 13th and has been fully loaded with over 200 new sub-skill trees across all classes, as well as new items and runes, a Hero Siege style mapping system, a rebirth of glyphs, angelic augments, better Chaos Tower scaling, much needed performance improvements across the game, and so freaking much more. I am super excited to explore the new season and very humbled to be making content on this awesome game. Today I present to you my starter build guide for the Anchor Swing Pirate in Season 5. The pirate is known for its powerful crowd control. The Anchor Swing Pirate is effective at clearing hordes while maintaining survivability through sturdy defenses. The pirate excels in dealing devastating area damage by swinging massive anchors, hitting multiple enemies in an arc. This build offers a smooth leveling process for both beginner and advanced players. In this guide, you will find information on build functionality, a step-by-step leveling guide, a gearing section, and much more. Let's start by talking about some pros and cons of the Anchor Swing Pirate. First, this build has really high crowd control. Anchor Swing will constantly knock up enemies, as well as you can freeze them and chill them. You also get access to parrots. These are really just meat shields. You can use them to hold enemy aggro. And if you like parrots, you can always do an easy gear swap into summons for easy bossing. Pirate also has access to Treasure Hunter. This is a magic find skill and is very strong, as well as Anchor Swing overall is very easy to scale. However, it is a mid-range skill, so this will put you in harm's way and into more death effects. And Pirate doesn't have a built-in movement ability, nor do you get movement speed as a passive. Let's go through the different skills and passives that make this build work. First is your main damage, Anchor Swing. You unleash a massive anchor swinging around you, dealing cold damage and freezing enemies on hit. Second is your meat shields. These are parrots. You can summon a parrot to peck your enemies, dealing cold damage. Through the augment tree, you actually get 11 of these. Set Sail is your damage buff. You'll temporarily increase your cold skill damage and mana replenish. Pirate also has a couple utilities. One is Frozen Lead. This increases your cold skill damage passively. And Treasure Hunter, you'll search for treasure from corpses with additional magic find. If you enjoy my content or find it useful, please consider donating. I am dedicating all donations and stream revenue in December to go towards my mom's fight with cancer. Of course, donating is not required to view my content, and I won't treat anybody differently, so only support if you can do so comfortably. To all of my contributors, thank you guys so freaking much. It's so hard to express how much that really means to me, so thank you. Within the written guide is a section designed to teach a few Hero Siege leveling basics to newer or returning players. If you're in this category, be sure to check that out, as it is really good information to have whenever you're leveling from 1 to 100. Next, let's talk about how to allocate points into our skill tree while we level. We do not have access to Anchor Swing until level 24, so this will be our main skill. Make sure you put some points into energy to help with mana cost. At level 8, we are going to put 1 point into parrots. This is going to hold enemy aggro for us. And then the rest of the points we're going to balance between Freezing Chain Shot and Frozen Lead. Frozen Lead is a synergy of Freezing Chain Shot, so we can increase the damage of Chain Shot without actually increasing its mana cost, as well as Frozen Lead is a cold skill damage passive. At level 16, you're going to balance your points between Torrent and Frozen Lead to increase the damage of Freezing Chain Shot without increasing its mana cost. Again, both of these are synergies. This may feel a little bit slow. I recommend farming a dungeon or two in Act 3 to hit level 24 and then switch to Anchor Swing. A really good dungeon to farm in Act 3 is the Dry Hills Sand Cave or the Forbidden City in Mossaratham Desert. At level 24, we are going to respec. We're going to max Anchor Swing, put 1 point into Land Ahoy. This is just for some additional single target. And the rest we're going to put into Frozen Lead. At level 60, you will have Frozen Lead maxed, and then you'll put the rest of your points into Set Sail. At level 80, finish maxing Set Sail and put the rest of your points in Freezing Chain Shot. And here's our final level 100 Anchor Swing skill tree. We're going to max Anchor Swing, max Frozen Lead, max Set Sail, max Freezing Chain Shot, 1 point into Parrots, 1 point into Regimes, 1 point into Treasure Hunter, 1 point into Land Ahoy, and the rest into Torrent. Sub-skill trees are a new feature in Season 5. Simply click on the plus sign in the top right of the skill you're looking to spec into, and a new window will pop up. You gain 1 point for every 5 character levels for every skill that you have allocated. You can reset this tree anytime for free, as well as you can have 1 augment per skill. Listed below are all these sub-skill trees that I recommend while leveling. First is Anchor Swing. This tree focuses on maximum AoE and additional anchors while reducing the movement diminish when casting. There are definitely other options here with duration or cold break, damage to frozen targets, but I found this is the best one when I play. Second is parrots. This tree focuses on increasing the maximum amount of parrots you can have giving you up to 11 parrots and making them move between packs very fast with increased movement speed to ensure that they are always tanking and holding enemy aggro. Last is Land Ahoy. This tree focuses on being supplemental single target damage. It has maximum projectiles and damage. Let's talk about attribute allocation. Skills can be quite expensive to use early, especially as you put more and more points into them. It's increasing the mana cost. You will want to put points into energy until you can find your first flat skill damage item, as well as some sustain so you're not chugging on mana pots. After that, follow a 50-50 split rule between intelligence and vitality. You'll do 2 points intelligence, 2 points vitality for every level. Let's move on to gearing. This section is designed to give you workable suggestions on what gear to acquire at different stages of the game. You as a player need to look at your current gear and figure out what options make the most sense for you. Due to the addition of the sub-skill trees, there are item procs or combinations that will not be listed here as they aren't discovered yet. It's up to you to experiment. Alongside gearing in Season 5 is star levels. Be sure to check out my star levels video explain for more information, but this is really for more advanced players and won't affect your playthrough. So don't worry, none of the gear that I'm using in this guide has star levels on it, as it is not required to complete any content in the game. For most of leveling, you'll be searching for rare or mythic items that match your character's damage type, but you may come across some satanics that also make sense to use. I cannot guarantee you dropping a specific satanic, nor will you stop leveling to farm for a specific satanic, so my gear recommendations will not include them. Rune words, however, are nearly guaranteed, as the bases are very common and you can obtain rune from completing quests in Act 1 normal, Nightmare, and Hell, then using the prospect station in Act 1 to downgrade runes to the ones that you need. This does not include the runes that you'll naturally drop playing the game. Be sure to check the runes level requirement and the white bases level requirement to ensure that you meet the requirement for both. The in-game journal is a bit misleading on the minimum level requirements for starter rune words, so best to check for yourself. Remember, we are looking for normal through mythic items for most of early leveling. Here are some of the weapon affixes to look for. Rune word options to consider. Sky Song can be used as early as level 29. You can use any tier base, but be sure to make it in a Spellblade or a one-handed sword. Here are some offhand affixes to look for. Rune word options to consider. The first is Sky Song. Again, you can use this as early as level 29. This is your offensive option. You can make this in a shield. Second is Divine Contemplation. You can use this as early as level 21. It can be made in any 3-socket shield, and this thing has a ton of resistances on it. Here's some helmet affixes to look for. And a rune word option to consider is Scholar. You can use this as early as level 27. It does have a skill on it, some mana on. Here are some chest affixes to look for. Rune word options to consider. The first is Shadow. You can use this as early as level 17. It does have 25% increased movement speed as well as 25 faster cast rate. Second is Freljord. You can use this as early as level 35. It does have the 4 skills on it, some faster cast rate, vitality, cold skill damage, and minus enemy cold res. Here are some boot affixes to look for. Be sure that you prioritize movement speed on boots over everything. Rune words to consider. The first is Quick Steps. These are very cheap. You can make these as early as level 31, and they have an ass load of movement speed on them. Second is Ghost. This is the better option, but you do need a Mal rune. You're only going to get this from your Act 1 quest most likely, and I wouldn't prospect down a Vex rune. Here are the belt affixes to look for. Ring affixes to look for. Amulet affixes to look for. And charm affixes to look for. As a fresh level 100 character, there really isn't best in slot gear at this point. Most items could be swapped with strong mythics. Item decisions are going to revolve around how your character feels over direct power upgrades. For example, if your character has a built-in teleport but low cast rate, choosing items that have higher, faster cast rate than others can make the build feel more smooth to play. You could put any combination of these budget items together and feel capable of completing Hell difficulty and begin pushing difficulties. Do not underestimate how strong mythic items can be, especially with the new star level system. Starting with weapons, we have Sky Song. If you can find a base with int or skills on it, this is even better. However, it does have skills and a ton of faster cast rate. Divinity, same thing if you can find an int or skills base, as well as you will need a Vex rune. You're only going to get this if you get lucky on your Act 1 quest or you happen to drop one in early Hell. Third is Book of Cold Death. This has up to 4 skills on it, some faster cast rate, up to 50 cold skill damage, and minus 20 enemy cold res with 2 sockets. And of course, if you find a good mythic, you could always start level that. For offhands, we have Sky Song. Look for a base with either intelligence on it or cold skill damage or maybe some life. Same thing goes for Divine Contemplation. This is your defensive option. It has a ton of resistance on it. Iron Giant Shield, if rolled well, can be a decent option with 3 skills, a ton of life, and damage reduction. And of course, if you find a mythic, you could always star level that. For helmets, if you're still wearing a Scholar, that can be pretty easily replaced. Crown of the Midnight gives 3 skills with up to 30% magic skill damage. Creator of Secrets is 2 skills, 40 FCR, and up to 25 all res. And the best option is Crown of the North. This is going to give up to 4 skills with 25 cold res, some physical damage reduction, cannot be frozen, and up to 30 all resistance. Very good helmet. If you do find a strong mythic, you could always start level that. For chests, if you haven't made a Freljord yet, this is your best option. It has up to 4 skills, cold skill damage, minus enemy cold resistance. It's a very beefy chest. However, Heaven's Might is very strong too. You can get 4 skills on this with a bunch of physical and magical damage reduction, tons of life, and up to 6 sockets. Some other options here: Grand Wizard's Robe, 2 skills, FCR, up to 35 all res. Gladstone Goose has 65 all resistances on it, and for super budget is Lichbane. Of course, if you find a good mythic, you're always welcome to star level that. For gloves, we have Conjured Mitts, Anubis's Mighty Hands, Mevis's Mighty Gauntlets, Wisdom Holds, and if you find a good mythic, you could always start level that. Best option here is Wisdom Holds, but any of these gloves will serve you well. For boots, we have a lot of really good options here. Wizard Boots is super budget. Quick Steps is going to give you the most movement speed. Ghost is probably your best option here, as it does give you 2 skills, physical damage and magic damage reduction, and movement phasing, allowing you to pass through objects and enemies. Grand Wizard Silk Shoes are really nice. You get up to 3 skills on them with some faster cast rate. However, the movement speed unfortunately is lacking. And last, you do have mythic star levels. So if you find a decent mythic, you could always level that up. For belts, we have Viper Magi's. This is going to give us some FCR as well as all resistance. Knight's Girdle gives us +2 to skills, some life, and a bit of physical damage reduction. Commander's Sash is my preferred choice. You get 1 skill, mana on kill, a good amount of physical damage reduction, and up to 20 all res. Ice Queen Cestus is also a good contender for Commander Sash, as you get up to 25% cold skill damage. And of course, if you find a mythic, you could always star level that. For rings, we do have Koda's Wedding Bands. 2 of these is fantastic. You get +1 skills, you get a bunch of movement speed and life. Second would be Iron Ring of Prometheus. This gives us a ton of resistance and some magic find. If you find a mythic ring with some skills on it, you could always star level that. Satanic Eye is great if you just want to get a ton of resistance. Signet of Bifrost can give you up to 35% increased cold damage. And Lunar Prophet Bands is +1 skills with 10 cold skill damage. For amulets, we have a few options here: Unfathomable Puzzle, Shining Pearl, and All-Seeing Eye. All-Seeing Eye is your best option, but any of these will serve you well. Of course, if you find a mythic, you could always star level that. And lastly, charms. Here are some affixes to look for on mythic charms. Satanic charms aren't really an early game buy. They will be rather expensive, but I wanted to show you a couple just to keep an eye out for when you're grinding. The first is Eye of Scotty. This gives up to -35% cold resistance, but you do take a 75% cold resistance penalty. This is worth. The other one is Cold Giant's Charm. You get up to 20% cold skill damage and up to -10 enemy cold resistance. Also very strong. As far as balancing goes, this part is still underway in the beta. I will be testing all builds live on Twitch and updating this section in the written guide as I do, but I would rather have this section empty than to steer players in the wrong direction. Here's a list of all the relics that work with this build. You're going to have to decide on your best option based on your current gear, stats, and build feel. However, the first 4 are the ones that I recommend, with the utility options being the remaining. Currently in Season 5, Mercenaries generally only have one purpose: being a magic find or a bot. Mercenary Magic Find is applied to your on-kill Magic Find, so we will be stacking as much as we can get. Here's the Mercenary skill tree I recommend. And for gear, again, generally we're looking for the most magic find. However, for weapons, there is Aurora's Might, which can give you a huge resistance bonus on your character early. Once you've solved your resistances for your character, any of these options, Sacred Whip, Ceremonial Dagger, or Death Smear, are good magic find weapon options. Here's some assorted magic find chests, magic find helmets, and magic find offhands. Below is a list of satanic potions and their effects. I recommend damage options first, then build into some utility, but the choice is really up to you. Here's a detailed starter highlight filter made by me specifically for this build. This ensures that you will highlight exactly what you need all the way to hell. Below that, I do explain how I put this filter together so that you know exactly what is being highlighted if you want to make changes. Remember that highlight filters do not hide any items. You need a filter in order for that to happen. If you're not sure how filters work, be sure to check the written guide. I do have a bit more explanation on how filters work, as well as I do have the beginner's guide that goes really in detail on how filters work. Again, this is just a highlight filter. And that's going to wrap up this build guide showcasing the Anchor Swing Pirate for Season 5. I truly hope this guide helps you in your journey. It was a ton of work, and I can't wait to see how blown away everyone is by Season 5. Be sure to check out more starter builds at the end of the written guide or via link in the description. Hit that subscribe button to let me know you want more Hero Siege content, and come say hi on Twitch at twitch.tv/Graxy_TV for live Graxy fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.